Good morning, everybody. My name is Harry Jacobs, and I am the North of 60 Gamer. And you can see I'm having a kind of a flash morning, a Sheldon Cooper kind of thing going on. I do have a Sheldon Cooper t-shirt. My wife thinks that's kind of funny, and you can see it has that little relaxed look. It is about 4 o'clock in the morning. In fact, it's 4:30 in the morning, and we are about to dive into Wes Woodbury's from Fundamental Games Dungeon Maker. This game is a game for one or two people, and you're going to lay a 5x5 grid out of a dungeon and score points along the way. This is not a dungeon crawler. It is not a dungeon explorer. It is a dungeon maker. And you're going to move your minions to get points. You're going to eat and fight a little bit, but at the most part, you are going to create a grid of interlocking dungeons or interconnected dungeons. And without any further ado, let's go down to the table, take a look at dungeon makers, and let's take a look at what's in the box. And as always, we're going to take you through the what's in the box, this setup. We're going to go through the rules and maybe play a turn or two of the solo game. So you can play solo or 1 to 2 players. And here's the box. It's about 8x8, so it's a pretty small box in terms of storage. However, it is a big game. It's a 5x5 grid, so you're going to have to play with 1 or 2 players. And it's by Wes Woodbury. This is the prototype version, so that means that everything that you see in this box is a prototype and therefore subject to change when the Kickstarter comes around. Again, this has already had one Kickstarter. Wes is rejigging the Kickstarter and then coming back afresh sometime in late June. So let's take a look at what is in this box. As we open the box, as you can see, there's the rules on top. Fairly plain. The font is great. Now, you've heard me complain a few times about font. This is nice, clear, white on black. A little color to emphasize things, but for the most part, this is the way I like my rules. Sometimes you get this brown wash. Even here, you can see that it does read, but the brown really washes out. If you look at this versus this, it really washes out the rules a little bit. For me, anyway. That's, I am getting older. Here's some nice emphases here. Emphases. Not emphasis in colors. I was in Ephesus. Got to sneak that in on my vacation. It was amazing. If you've never been to Ephesus in Rhodes. No, sorry, in Rhodes. Here we have a scoring pad by the looks of it. Yeah, meeples and tiles. And that is it. That is all that's in the box. And you can see the neat little meeples here. Let's just open these up here. There's the green and purple because you have to play with 2 players. Again, these are prototypes. These look pretty good. I wonder where you got them. And just some tiles. And so you can see various tiles, and we're going to go over that in a few minutes. But that is what's in the box. So pretty simple. Simple is good. As you know, I like to have what I call those 5x5x5 games. Those are games that can set up in about 5 minutes, learn in about 5 minutes, and tear down in 5 minutes. And for me, that plays in maybe an hour, and I got a feeling that this is probably an hour's game, not even, probably 30 minutes tops. Even a solo might be a little quicker, 20 minutes perhaps. So let's take a look and go through the rules together. So let's talk about setup. Here it is. We have the scoring tractor. Now it says put us in the middle of the 2 players down here. Unfortunately, I don't have enough space to show you that tracker, so we're going to leave it up here, front and center. We have dealt out our 3 stacks of tiles, and there's different types of tiles, and we're going to explain those tiles once we get a little bit more into the game. And then we have our green starting tile, our purple starting tile. We have our score markers on the score tracker. Each person has 5 minions or 5 monsters. You have 3 blocking tokens, which are worth -2 to the other player. You have your action tiles. This is this blue tile, and it is double-sided. So as you play, you're going to move it, play it. You're going to place a tile on your next turn, and you're going to flip it. Then you have a choice of placing a tile. You can either do the left or right action by moving it around and then flipping it back over. Place a tile, flip it over, move it left or right, depending on what you want to do. And we're going to go over these actions as we come across them, and then continue on while we build a 5x5 grid. During the game, you can, of course, place a minion onto your dungeon. If a player has a dungeon leading off to the end, you can place a minion in his dungeon. You can take it. You can attack each other and remove them from the game. You can swap tiles, remove one from the game. Swapping is a good way to continue building points, because everything is about points here, because you're building a dungeon. And you can see on top we have a couple. We have a water tile. We have a chasm tile. That's with the Z. Now, if you look at your handy board right here, we have our sequence of play right there. We have our actions explained right here. We have the types of tiles explained here. So we have a T for tunnel, C for different types of tunnels. We have mazes. We have water. We have tunnels, and we're going to come across all those types while we play or demonstrate the game for you, and we'll just place them right over here so each player has a set of that. That is basically how the game begins. We are ready to play. We'll just flip this tile. This tile always goes on top at the beginning of the game, just to remind you on which way this is uprighted, because this is an important part of the play. So that is the setup. So, hot off the presses, I was just talking to Wes yesterday, so I'm just breaking in here. I've got the new solo rules. So I'm going to take a second here and actually set up the actual solo area to play. So give me a moment to set up the solo play, and we'll explain the setup real quick. And we're going to get into some solo play here in Dungeon Maker. So just give me a moment, folks. This is exciting. This is hot off the press. So I've set up the solo rules. One of the things we don't play with in the solo rules is the -2 blocking tiles. So we're going to take them right out of the game. We are going to play the green. Now the green does not use the normal tile set, such as this one here, the tile in which you're going to take your turn. So what we're going to be using is my iPhone. And what you can see here is A, B, C, and D. Now I am going to give you a closer look once I get to my editing, because I will put these on the board as we do that, as we play. But for now, what we're going to just do is go A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and just keep doing that each turn. And the Iron Golem is going to collect tiles, but he's not going to place them, so he's going to get points for just having them having them. Basically, he will be able to add his minions to mine if I give him a way to get in, and that is how it's going to work. He's going to get icon. He will get points for icons as well. He will have points for having minions in his dungeons. In theory, he'll still get 2 points for that, or -5 for me if he gets into my dungeon. I will be going first. We will be keeping score, of course. And as you know, the scores are on the back of these tiles right here. So we're going to, each one of these tiles has its own iconology to tell you what the actions are, as well as the final scoring and the turn sequence. And again, I will give you a closer look at those. So basically, we are ready to play this solo game. Again, this for me is a 5-5-5 game. 5 minutes to set up, 5 minutes to learn, 5 minutes to tear down. These are the beauty of these type of small games when you don't have a lot of time. You can see there's going to be lots of strategy here to try to maximize my points. And because there's like a lot of tiles, in fact there are 92 tiles, there is going to be a varied dungeon each time you play. I think this game really is going to shine in a two-player game, but for now we're just going to try the solo to get you familiar with some of the rules that is going on. So join me in about 10 seconds, and here we go. So here we are, we're ready to go. We only need the starting tile for myself. We have my purple monsters just here at the bottom. We have the green monsters here. And of course I have this. And if we ever get around to it, it'd be a nice app. But right now we're just going to flip through, as I said, the A, B, C, and D. I will give you a closer look and we'll run through that as we play. And I will read the choices and then we'll get a little faster as we go on. What we're trying to do here is build that 5x5 grid or go until I can't go anymore, in which case then the monster is going to take, or the iron golem is going to take one more turn. So you can see that I have the tile here. It is flipped to the slightly raised side. So the first thing that I am going to do is take one of these tiles. As you know, this is a T, this is a tunnel, and this is a chest. A chest is worth points at the end of the game. So it's not a point at this point, and we'll just place that here. And as you can see, we've exposed another tile. It is an M. I'll just turn that around. That is a maze. So we have a couple maze tiles, and we have a cave tile. Now the cave tile, which is indicated by the C, if I have a monster on that at the end of the turn, it's worth extra points. Whoops. And this should be turned over and exposed. So there we go. So now it is the green monster's turn, or the I should say, I like to go green, but it is actually the iron golem. You can see that here, and you can see that it has a priority of tiles that it's going to pick. The golem gains a tile from the top of one of the dungeon stacks. The piece is chosen in the following priority. So a trap, a puzzle, an encounter, a water, a treasure, and a maze. So the maze tiles are higher priority than the cave tile. You can see that here. So he is going to take a maze tile. That is all that he does on his turn. At this point, we flip the action tile, and one of the things that we can do is either place a minion or move a minion. So I have no minion at this point, so we're going to turn the tile, and then we're going to put a minion on in the dungeon. It's as easy as that. And then, of course, at that point, we're going to flip that tile, and it is the green turn again. And now he's going to go to the B. The golem will place either a minion or move a minion in the following priority. If the player dungeon has an open pathway to the border, which means 2 up, 2 across, or 2 down, which we do not at this point, what he's going to do is take a minion and put it in his dungeon, basically. So again, that's in theory. At this point, I can take another tile. At this point, I can take another tile, and I am going to take a maze, and I'm going to place it right here. Now, according to the rules, I'm going to get 1 point for placing a maze tile. So I'm just going to move that to 1. We'll come back to our iron golem. And it says, the golem gains a tile from the top of one of the dungeon stacks. The piece is chosen in the following priority. A 4-way, which we don't have. A 3-way, which we don't have. A corner tile, or a 2-way if multiple choices follow the A priority. So we have a couple of 2-ways. So his priority would be a water tile, which is the X right here. So we would give him a water tile. Again, we come to myself. We're going to flip it. We can't do the same action here. We are going to put a blocking tile, which we can't do. Or, I believe that is a move. So, there is no specific rules around moving other than the fact that I cannot get another point for placing unless I'm swapping. So even if I move the maze, I'm not going to get an extra point, nor am I going to get an extra point for the gold. So I can move a tile and I have to follow the placement, so I can just put the tile here. According to the rules, I do get 1 point for just moving the tile. And again, we will flip this over again and turn it. We'll flip it, and then we'll turn it when the next turn is, because we can't do the same action again, right? So we're going to flip it and turn it. So here we go. We are ready to go again. We are back now to the D, which is flip the unused action tile. The following results below. Shuffle each dungeon stack so we can flip this. So they're talking about flipping. I forgot about that. So we were going to take this tile and flip it. And if it's the tile placement, the blue and white here, it says shuffle each dungeon stack. The golem gains the top tile of the center stack, and the golem gets 1 point. If it's this time, he places the top tile of each dungeon stack on the bottom, and he gets this tile of the top rightmost stack and still gets a 1 dungeon point. So we're going to flip this. You can see it here. Green. So we are going to take the top tile and place them underneath. And we're going to give him 1 point. So basically at this point we're back to the A for him, and we're back here. Of course we flip it, and we can't do the same action as we know, so we're going to turn it. We can move our monster at this point. So what's going to happen is when we move, we get a point for each one he moves through, but he can't go back. So he'll just move on to the maze or into the gold chest. I do get 1 point for that. That is the end of my turn. And we come back, of course, to the A, which says pick a tile in thy priority. Now we have an encounter, which is actually a priority. We have a tunnel and we have a stairway. The encounter tile is marked with a C, and it is worth, I believe, 2 or 3 points depending on the pairs of sets of this. We'll clarify that when we do the accounting at the end, but for now this goes into our iron golem pile, and we'll flip this around. We are back to a placement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a P, which is a puzzle, and I'm going to place it here at the end. So this closes off the end. Of course, it's going to make it harder to get to the edges here, but that is fine. So we have a puzzle, and I get 2 points. Of course, we're now back to the B side for our iron golem. So continuing on with the B, of course, the iron golem is going to get another monster in his dungeon because I have no openings for him yet. Then, of course, we come back to my turn. We've already placed that, so we're going to come over and we're going to go either way on this. We're going to swap a tile, I think, or we can go back and yeah, I think we're going to swap a tile. So here we are. We're going to move that to swap a tile. And what swap a tile basically allows me to do is take a tile out and put a new tile in. Not necessarily a good thing for us. So actually, yeah, so we're going to swap a tile. So I'm going to take this tile, which is an encounter tile, and I'm going to just swap out this maze tile right here. Just like that. This is removed. When you swap a tile, it is removed from the game. And it is also worth 1 point if a minion here is there on the end of the game as well, just like the stairs. But right now, we're fine. Okay, we're going to come back here. We're going to do the C action, which of course is taking a tile. The golem gets a tile from the top of any one of the dungeons. Is there a 4-way? No, but there's a number of different 3-ways. And he is going to take it in the priority of A, of course. So let's just take an A. Is it a trap? No. So we have no traps. So he would take a staircase or a trap icon or chasm icon. I think that's what that is. Oh, no, it's a trap. That's the chasm. Yes. So there's the trap icon. That is the #1 priority. So he's going to take that and put that in his stack. Comes back to my turn. We're basically going to flip our tile back. And we're going to take a tile. So one of the things we want to do is start to go this way. And we want to leave ourselves open. We'll just move that down a little bit. And let's put a, looks like an encounter of some sort. Looks like a gargoyle, actually. We'll just move that over just a touch. And I think I'd like to go with the 4-way here. That was over here, wasn't it? So we're going to go with this 4-way. That gives us some flexibility at the top. That is our turn. We're going to go to the D, which basically says we're going to flip this. So we're going to ready. 1. Whoops. I'm going to flip it. Okay, we're going to take it off the center tile. That's the way it flipped up off camera. Sorry, but so we're going to take it off the center tile. We're going to put that here. We'll be back to A. We've placed the tile. We're going to go back here. Now we either decide we're going to move or place another minion. So we could C and M's, and these could touch 2 tunnel tiles. So I think what we're going to do is take this and move this way. And we're going to just move our minion to here for 2 more points. 1, 2. We're going to come back here to the A, which means he's going to take a, based on the priority, we have a stairs. We have a C, a P, which is a puzzle, but he doesn't have a trap showing. He's got an encounter. Might be gargoyle, so it might be a trap icon. I'm going to take it as a trap icon. So again, he's going to take a trap icon, perhaps, and move it into his stack. At this point in time, I have to turn this over. I could flip it at the same time, turn it over, and then we'll do it either way. Which way we're going to flip it? I can get a choice of. Again, we have a 4-way, so here we go. We can stop him from moving with a cave, and that gives me another icon. The Iron Golem is going to make a B. Move. Again, I have cut him off. If we look here and here, I have cut him off from that. So he's just going to pile that up there for end of turn. I have to flip it, and I have to decide on which action I want to do. Either move a tile, which really doesn't make a sense, or I can swap a tile. But I can move a tile. If I move a tile or swap a tile, so I could swap this out. Oh, I am going to do that. So that does make it a little bit more difficult to swap. So I think I'm just going to move this, and I'm only going to get 1 point for the move. We're just going to move it there. We're going to play it safe. That is the end of this turn for the Iron Golem. Okay, next turn is the C. So he's going to pick. Do we have a 4-way? No. We have a 3-way? Yes. So that would be his priority. So he will take that. So we're going to take a tile at this point. Oh, we have a nice corner. Oh, that's beautiful. There we are. We have a beautiful corner. Yeah, that is not a trap. That is actually a minion because it is a C tile. Very important that we look at the types of C. So this one will be a set collection at the end. So at this point in time, what I want to do now is I'm just going to play through and fill this up till we get to the end of the game. So when we get close to the end of the game in the last few tiles, I'm going to come back. I'm going to take you through to the end of the game, and then we're going to do the final scoring. So hang in there. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to jump ahead in time to get down to, say, the final 2 or 3 tiles, and that will be, after that we will do the scoring of the game. So here we are. We've picked this up a little later in the game, and you can see now that I have a outside. I had no choice. I was forced into taking this puzzle, and it's giving the golem, of course, an opportunity to now come across to his B side, and actually now he can move and put one of his monsters in my dungeon. Of course, he loses 2 points, but against my potential of -5 points. Myself 2 points for putting this puzzle down, so he has the first monster here. So now, of course, we're going to take our tile and we can move a monster. So we're going to move a monster here, and basically what we're going to do is take these out of the game because we can move it. He touches 1 tile, so he is going to get a point for that, but he's going to come out. I basically going to come out behind because I lose the points for having the monsters, but I don't get that -5 points. Of course, now we're in the C, which means he can decide, and the priority, of course, is where the traps and a 4 point. So he would be a trap and an encounter, which would go on his pile, which is right here, actually. We'll just turn that sideways so you can see that the tiles that the monster is collecting. He has 4 monsters on his tile, just a little bit out of the way. At this point, I will turn this back over at this point, and I can try to finish this off. Again, so I'm going to go put this puzzle piece here. So I'm actually going to get 3 points for the puzzle piece, plus an extra point for being adjacent to another puzzle. So that's 3 points. That's up to 20. He is now basically at this point doing the 4-way. Oh, he already did that. So at this point, he's going to flip this encounter. Ready? We're going to try to flip it and not kill myself. Oh, there it is. You can see. So he is going to shuffle each of the dungeon stacks and take the top of the centerpiece. We shuffled, and he'll take the top of the centerpiece. We'll come back. I have to unflip mine. And either I can do a swap, which isn't too bad, or I can put a puzzle down. Let's just see. So the chasms, the reason why I don't have a path here is the chasm is the only tile that can actually be against a straight edge. At this point in time, I can move, which I think I'm going to move. I'm going to move this tile up to here. I get 1 point for the move. So we have swapped the tile. So now we're going to go off, and of course this is going to get turned this way. We're back to our A. There's no traps. P's, no. But there is an encounter, so he's going to get that encounter. They're going to come back to me. I got to take basically 2 ways or 4 ways. Can't put a 4-way here. I got to do a 2-way here to the end of the map. Of course, that might be a problem. So we're going to put a 4-way here. And that's just an X. So that is a gain 1 point water tile placed in a dungeon. No, it doesn't look like a water tile, but he says it is a water tile. For each in the dungeon, I only have 1 other water tile right now. So that's a point. So 2 points. Okay, we are back into the phase in which we are placing, and since we have an outside, he can go right here. It is my turn, and we're going to have to perhaps move. So we're going to move through a tunnel. 2. So I'm going to get 2 points, but we're going to be moving those. Next, he's going to choose, this is a 4-way, so he's going to take a 4-way. Goes into his area. It is my turn. Of course, we're going to have to take a tunnel. Still no way of getting something here. So that could be a problem for us. We'll do that. At this point in time, he will take a 4-way. There's only 2 ways. We go back to the A. What's our priority? Of course, is a trap. We don't have a trap. Puzzle, no, but we have an encounter, so we'll take our encounter. We come back over to me. We flip. We have to decide whether we want to swap a tile or move a tile. Well, we could certainly... Oh. Yeah. I don't want to lose that, or I can move a tile. Well, there's not really a lot of choices. If I swap a tile, I'm really stuck here. Well, you know what? I will swap a tile. It doesn't really hurt me at this point. We're at this point ready to turn. So everything goes underneath, and we take a tile from the rightmost. Then it is my turn. So we are actually flipping. Again, I don't have anything that's making a turn here. But I could put this next to a puzzle piece for 2 points. 1, 2. Now we're back to our monster, the Iron Golem. And he's certainly going to take a trap. If there's a trap available, he's going to take a P. So he's going to take a P. I'm going to come back over to here, flip, and we're going to add a minion. At this point in time, he is just going to keep throwing minions at me. It becomes my turn. We're going to flip, and we can swap a tile. We could try to swipe a tile. No, that's not going to work for me. Nothing's really going to work other than I could swap a tile for a point and get a point for that, for just moving a tile. We're back to the monster, of course. He played his gum. He gets a 4-way, a 2-way, which we have here. So this is the one he is going to take. It comes my turn. I flip, and I can take one more tile. Oh, that's nice. Nope, can't put that tile there. I can't even use this tile. Well, I can. I could do it this way. We come over to our monster who now flips the iron golem. He center, so everybody's going to get shuffled. Nothing to shuffle there. There we are. He's going to take that one. I will take a disc. I can't put that there. The only one I can take is this one, basically. Okay, he comes back and he's going to select a tile based on that. He takes a trap. We can turn. We can swap. Or we can swap a tile. Or we can... So I could swap a tile. So I could lose this, but I could swap a tile. So I could take this out by doing that, which gives me perhaps one more. But then again, I give him the opportunity to do this. We come back to my turn, which basically is the last tile. You can't put any tiles here at this point. That would be conceivably the end of the game. The monster gets one more turn. So he can take a four-way, two-way, and he is going to take the puzzle. And that is how the game ends at this point. And then we do the scoring. So looking at my scoring, I'm going to get 1 point. So I can get a points for any minion, gain a DPs for any minions on your dungeons that are on chamber or maze tiles. Well, there is only one. Gain DPs for pathways that lead to the chasm tiles. Deduct. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gain 3 points for each of your minions in your dungeon. Well, at least I get in your dungeon. Lose 5 points. So I'm going to lose 10 points here and gain 6. And so it's a net 4 loss. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gain 1 dungeon tile for each treasure if you have the most treasures. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gain 2 DP for an encounter icon in your dungeon. 1 DP for the pairs matching. So we have 1, 2, 3, and a pair is an extra point. So I guess that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For each set of traps, I have 1 set. Looks like I only have 1 set. So that is 1 point. So I have 36 points. Now let's take a look at what the monster gets. He gets icon same way as 2-player. Okay, so we're going to take our... He's got 2 of these monsters on, so he's going to get 2 points for that monster. 1, 2. There we go. Okay, so we're ready to score. I've sorted out all these guys. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to score for the number of minions. There was only 1 minion left. That was 2. The other guys had got taken off, so there's actually 2 left on there. 1 got taken off. 2 went into my dungeon, and so that's the end of that. He had 1 stair, 2 stairs. So he's had he had a couple of stairs. So I'm giving him 1 point for each of the stairs. So we have 3 stairs, 1, 2, 3, and all this. Gold, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gold. And because he had the most, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's going to get 5, 3, 4, 5. So for each one of these, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus he has a pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus he has a pair for each. So he's going to get 4. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's got 4 maze pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 3 puzzles. 1, 2, 3. And then we have a number of these pairs here, which will give him, oh, there's another staircase, which shouldn't be here. So we've got some pairs of traps. Let's see here. We got a couple pairs of traps. Like that. So based on the traps, we're going to get, minimally, we're going to have 1 for each of these different ones. 1, 2, 3, and this one is 3. And this will give me 7 points. That's another 10 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 57, I think. So I was handily defeated by the Iron Golem. Wow. And I thought I played a pretty good game. But the Iron Golem just takes lots of tiles, and this is where he's going to make that. So strategically, I should have been moving more tiles, swapping out, things like that perhaps. But that should give you an idea of how the solo game works with the Iron Golem. Again, this is all prototype. The rules are prototype, so there might be changes by the time it goes to Kickstarter. But let's go up for some final thoughts. It is warm in this room today. Yellowknife is having some, I would almost call it unseasonably hot weather, where I actually bought an air conditioner. But that's not what we're here to discuss. Of course, we're here to discuss Dungeon Makers by Wes Woodbury and Fundamental Games. And we did play the solo version. It was, I like the art, so let's talk about some of the components and aspects of the game. I certainly like the art. I certainly like the plainness of the art. I think that keeps the game simple and looks very simple. It's not overly complicated in terms of the art. It's not overly complicated in terms of the rules and the iconology. Something you can learn very, very quickly. Of course, it'll be very helpful to have the Iron Golem tiles when those are designed and created. But for now, we just went through them, A, B, C, D. I believe that you could probably almost randomize that too eventually, maybe. I'm not quite sure what Wes has in mind, but I think it's just A, B, C, D, rinse and repeat till the end. Maybe I didn't get the scoring 100%, so I probably could have made a few mistakes. When I do the playthrough, I will certainly point that out to you. If I wanted to do a quick solo, it's enjoyable enough. I think, though, perhaps one might get tired of it, perhaps, in terms of for solo play value. I think it has some value, though I don't know how many times you would want to play this in a row. But by the time you've got to that 10th play, it might get a little samey. That would be a concern of mine in terms of a solo play game like this, because it's really trying to beat the Iron Golem with him just collecting tiles as you try to lay the tiles, and depending on what he's doing and how often those tiles get back, I would say that this game, maybe at the end of the day, after about 5 to 10 solo plays, would not feel like I'd want to play it again for a while. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't play it again at some point, but I'd probably set it aside. I'd probably set it aside and come back to that. As a two-player game, which we didn't cover, I think that's where the value is here. In a two-player game, it's going to be different every time, because you don't know what the other guy is going to do. Here you can know, well, A's coming up. We know which tile he's going to take, so you can anticipate, and maybe I needed to anticipate a bit more in the solo. So again, that might lead to that samey feel. But I think on a two-player game, this game will shine, I think, for the value, and I think it was only about $29. And certainly for a game like this, for $29 for a two-player game would be well worth it. As my wife likes these types of tile-laying games, so this would be right in for a two-player game. It's a small enough footprint that you could play on a cruise, perhaps. I just went on a cruise, and we've got 2 more cruises booked over the next 2 years. So I certainly would consider taking a game like this with me, and it's easy enough to teach. So if you got another person sitting at the bar and you got nothing to do, hey, why don't you play with me and sit down and play? So hey, why don't you sit down and play with me? So there are aspects of this game, I think, in a two-player game that would overshine or shine better than the solo play. But that's it for now. If you like this type of content, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Subscribe. This just gives me an idea of who is watching, and make some comments and make some noise. Say hello. Ask me about my vacation. Ask me about the game. Hopefully that this game is of interest for you. The Kickstarter is coming again at the end of this month of June. I will have this out hopefully in another day or two, so it should be the end of June when we see the Kickstarter, or restart to the Kickstarter. Wes has been successful in 3 or 4 other endeavors on Kickstarter, so I don't think he should have an issue really funding this, but we shall see. Anyway, this is Harry Jacobs. I am the North of 60 Gamer, and this is the North of 60 Gaming channel, and boy, I wish I was back on vacation. So we'll talk to you next time. Next we have another prototype, so hopefully I'll get that to the table in the next day or two. Talk to you later.